So Apex Legends Season 22 is here, and we got the new map, a district. Of course, I want to tell you guys the top 5 best places to drop within this new season. I have visited each and every POI for the last 3 hours to figure out the 5 best POIs to recommend to you guys, so that way you have the best chances of getting good loot and also winning more games. Because you got to keep in mind, this season they actually nerfed how the loot pool works, that you have 50% chance less to get gold loot and purple loot. So that means there's going to be a lot of blue and white gear on the ground, especially in magazines. So how you take advantage of this fact is that you go to places that have more bins and have more higher chances for good loot. And the first POI I want to recommend to you guys is Lotus. Now Lotus is a very interesting POI because it's actually not positioned in a bad spot. There's a lot of great loot all over this POI with actually loot pools. There's a ton of bins, and this actually goes way high up. So these buildings, you think like, oh, I have this whole area to chill at, right? No. This POI goes from this floor here all the way to the top floor, which is very huge. Plus there's an underground part over here that you can kind of just look around for loot. So you have a lot of places to find actually loot bins and stuff, which is very good. And there's a lot of fun places to fight too, especially if you go to the top. So if you go up here, you're going to see access to the zip line. You can see it goes very far up. There are multiple floors to multiple levels. And of course, when you get the top 2 floors here, you'll actually see it takes you outside. Hello, I found our guest. But you can see the top floor has some loot bins, which is pretty nice. And the bottom floor here to right below us, where that kid was showing us, you can see there's more loot bins down there. So the loot, it's pretty good. And then they've even go on the back of the buildings, they have even more loot, plus a cute little nesty pool. And the cool thing about this POI is too, it's only the POI of the game where it has an evac tower and also grav towers. Now, what I mean by that is that if you go to the roofs of these buildings, you'll actually see 2 grav cannons. And if you hit these grav cannons, you can actually go from both actual sides. You can go from the right side building to the far side building on the back, which is pretty nice. And if you want to rotate, you have this nice big evac tower that transitions. So you can see here is the grav cannon. And fun thing to keep in mind, if you actually tap strafe on it, it will actually let you strafe. But of course I didn't strafe right there, but you can see with that, you have some good stuff. And this guy really sucks so much. But you can see you have actually these grav cannons, and you have a lot of places to loot from here. So you can see like all the floors too. There's like, what was it, 8 bins per floor. So multiply that, that's like 24 plus. So you can see with that, there's a lot of great loot that actually get access to here. And when you actually get kitted and you feel confident, you can then play around with these floors and actually fight people.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
But yeah, the good thing about this POI is that you got a lot of loot to go through. And of course, it's very fun to fight here. And there's a lot of good spots there to actually like play, like especially here. So definitely, Lotus is at the top 5 best place, one of the top 5 best places to drop in Season 22. So the next POI I would recommend you go to for a district is actually not bad. It's really pretty good. Similar to that of Lotus, but it has a lot more bins and a lot more loot they actually go access to. And it's very similar to that of like Bison and stuff from Apex Legends. Now, this POI is actually Blossom. Blossom has a lot of great loot bins. And I'm just gonna give you guys an idea on like how this POI is. There's a few POIs that have very similar designs of like Olympus or Fragment. Like a great example of this is what is it called? City Hall has similar buildings outside of Fragment. But this one here is like similar to that of Skyhook, but it's on E-District. So first of all, you have a lot of bins from each of the buildings. You also have zip lines too, so you can go here loot. There's some pretty good loot here. Most of them's rounded because of how many floors you have access to. So you can see like here, we got a few bins. You go to the top, you got like an additional like 2 bins up top. Then of course, all the zip lines are connected to each of the main buildings where all the main loot is at. So you can see over there, more bins. And then you can just keep going. And of course, they've got a lot of zip lines to maneuver around with. So if you are a mantler or a sweaty reef main, hey, this might be not a great PO. This might not be a bad POI for you, like, you know, mantle jump around and troll people. But of course, on this POI, you do have these little pad things. And of course, they're like just gravity 0 pads. You can run up on them, and then you can go like directions you want and go on the zip lines, or you can use them just to get height. So That's pretty nice. They're not like anything too broken or too insane. They don't really have much distance, but you can theoretically take advantage of them to get some distance. And then you can of course rotate out to Neo for more loot, or you can rotate out to Street Market to go third party, because Street Market is actually the next POI on my list. Because Street Market is very, very open. However, there's a lot of great loot inside of the little market shops that you can actually get loot up on. And the reason why I'm saying like it's a good POI is because if you go on the outside of it, you can loot like 4 bins for yourself or for your team. Like earlier, of course, like look, you can see those 4 bins I'm talking about. Great loot right there. There's another 4 bins on the opposite side. And keep in mind too that each of these shops has loot inside of them, but it isn't particularly the best. You can get some guns here and there and can play cover. Just keep in mind these boxes right here are wall bangables, so you can literally just shoot through them. And then of course you can blow, get more loot, and each of the little market area has some great loot too. Nothing like too insane, but the best part about this POI is that you can kind of just land outside, grab one of the 4 bins, start fighting teams here, and like if you get the loot, you're guaranteed to win the fight as long as you don't whiff your shots, that is. And you can also rotate out to that blimp on the outside here, which is, I'm pretty sure this is the highest blimp on the map, unless I'm wrong. And yeah, you can see how tall this blimp is. You can pretty much go anywhere with this blimp. You can go over here, you can go over the drop point or wherever the frick this is, and then you can just keep going from wherever you want. So yeah, that's Street Market for you. Okay, the next POI on the top 5 best places to drop is actually Energy Bank. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, Energy Bank felt like the POI was gonna be the hot drop of the season, but I don't think it's honestly gonna be that. Like, yeah, there's a good amount of people that come here, but it isn't too insane. The loot's pretty good though. I will quickly say, if you land middle of actually here where the crafter is, you can get some guaranteed guns on the ground, which is nice. So they're actually pretty good most times around too. And then you of course can just craft yourself some ammo if you want. 10 out of 10. If you do land, try to get the guns here and then just craft yourself some ammo. And try to not get absolutely blasted by like everyone in the lobby who looks at you, because the middle does not have much ground to play with, this at the very least. If you go near the center of actually this POI, on each of the sides here, there'll be some doors that lead to the building. And if you go to this building here, you will get access to some very good loot. Now, important fact to keep in mind, these rooms suck. And the reason why I say that is because you literally enter this room, right? There's one door here, one door there, and that's it. So literally, you have to play these doors very carefully and like loot yourself, be careful, because a lot of people fight between these 2 rooms. So you can see how like being beamed can be a problem. But if you do take advantage of the situation, you can get some really good loot and then beam kits for free, because the loot here is pretty good. And also like the angles are pretty nice. None of the angles are super insane or anything like that. Not too broken saber at least, but they're pretty good. This is probably one of my favorite POIs from the game right now, besides like with Lotus, because Lotus is just so much fun. Because how you can do with the stuff, movement and stuff there to the zip lines. This POI is not bad though. If you want to get a lot of good fights, this is the POI to come to. Because everyone, their mother will like come back here to fight you, because there's not really much to go to and not much to leave. So you're better off just kind of like taking advantage of that fact. But keep in mind though, you gotta be careful, because if you go below here, the bodies and also like the spots, like there's not much to really play down here. Like, you can play like the building on there, but it isn't particularly the best. It's like something you don't really want to play unless you have to. But yeah, this POI is pretty good. I will say it's probably my favorite POI to fight in, just because like there's so much going on to it. It's pretty chaotic, but not super chaotic, if that makes sense. It's not like Fragment or States or even those stupid POIs on Olympus or World's Edge, because those POIs are just dumb. Next up, we have the final POI for our top 5 best places to drop on E-District, and that is City Hall. Now, City Hall is very similar to Fragment. If you landed Fragment middle where the towers and zip lines are, it's like the buildings on the left side of that. There's these weird buildings that are shaped like this. Yeah, this whole area is interesting to find it, because like, one, you got good loot in mid, you got some good loot to actually grab in the beginning. But yeah, there's some pretty good loot outside of the buildings right at the rip. But also, the other thing too, if you go inside the building, you'll get even access to even some better stuff. Because you can literally just go here, grab the loot that's around, get kitted, And then most times around, you'll find a lot of good stuff on the ground off the rip. Like, you don't really have to look too hard for it because it's pretty blatantly obvious. And then, of course, you can third party anyone who comes to fight you. There are a lot of open spots, though. Like, this whole area kind of sucks because, like, there's not really much to play here. So you're better off kind of just taking position in mid and holding it, because this dome gives you a lot of powerful head glitches. So, for example, here's a powerful head glitch. So now I can just beam people for 3, which is very nice. And, of course, my guns are loaded. Fantastic. But you can see, just from that alone, I'm able to kind of just beam people for 3 without no issues. And I can just control this whole POI to myself. So that's why you want to take this middle part, just for that exact reason. But then when the enemies are not looking, because there's not really much to hold up there, you can really just walk up for free and just start shooting them. Oh my god. The only thing you gotta be careful of, these staircases. These staircases are terrible. I wouldn't say it's the best POI in the game. It's probably like my least favorite. Like, it is like top 5, but it isn't that good. It's more one of those POIs, like similar to what I want to talk about, where you're like, you get the guns. If you get the guns in Street Market, you're guaranteed to win the fights. And like, the good thing about Street Market, there's a lot of opportunities to make plays. So this POI, like, this plays, but since it's so compact, it's so close corridored, that it's kind of hard to make plays if you're not winning the fight already. Those are the top 5 best places to drop on the new map, E-District. Let me know, do you agree with me on some of the POIs? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you had to pick one of the POIs this map is your favorite, let me know what you would be. For me personally, Lotus is the way to go. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash the like button, get subscribed to me some future Apex content. Until then, have a great night, okay? Cool.